So let's try to do this without any spoilers. So episode 2 of Beef, it's called The Rapture of Being Alive. It's a pretty interesting episode. I think this is the first episode that we see the characters develop outside what they had already established. I mean, not quite develop, but we get to know more about who they are, especially when it comes to their personal life and what is happening in their relationship. Amy gets a chance to go for an exhibition which they had planned, and they had set up with a character called Jordana in episode 1. And she had done a lot in order to be able to bring Jordana into that particular exhibition, because she wanted her to buy something in order for her to actually, for them to make money with George. Now, this episode, I think I missed it in the first episode. This is the first episode that we learn about George. Something about George. George comes from a rich family, let's call it that way. But the dad, who was an artist, only left the chairs for him, the chairs that are being exhibited. He did not leave anything in terms of wealth or money to George. He just left the chairs which are on exhibition during that part. And during that particular occasion, we get to learn about how fragile George's and Amy's relationship is, because they discuss a lot of things. Some of the things that happened in episode 1, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. If you've watched it, you know what I'm talking about, but I do not want to spoil it for everyone so that they have a lukewarm experience. I'm just going to talk briefly. I'm just going to give an overview of what happened without going into details. Okay, so Amy and George, you get to see just how fragile their relationship is, because Amy wants something to be sold and George does not want something to be sold, despite the fact that Jordana was a very good client, and Amy put in a lot of work in order to bring Jordana into that exhibition, and the chance for Jordana to be there was a chance for her to buy something for a lot of price, but George shoots it down, and that just explodes into some other things. They go into deep into their relationship, what is happening to their relationship, and you can see all the cracks. I mean, this is a house that's about to collapse. I didn't know that in episode 1, but you get to see that in episode 2. Apart from that, we get to see more of the people around Amy. There's Naomi, there's another lady, there's her employee called Myla or Kyla. So we get to meet them in this particular episode. Also in this, still on Amy, she does something stupid, which is she goes on Instagram, looks at Danny's profile and decides to make a fake character in order to get into Danny's head. So what does she do? She creates a Kyla, a clone profile. She creates a fake profile using Kyla's image. Now when she's going through Kyla's Instagram post, Kyla works for her. She notices that George, her husband, has been liking a lot of her photos, has been liking a lot of Kyla's photos. So that just brings another dimension. Maybe there's a possibility that George might be cheating on her. Anyway, she grabs one photo, screenshots, then creates a fake account and contacts Danny. Now remember, this is the work account. This is not Danny's personal account. And who's running that account? Is Paul, Danny's brother, who's running that account. So when the reply comes, she thinks that it's Danny who's going to reply, but it's someone else. It's Paul who replies and then puts up his photo, and she's like, damn, she's so excited, and that leads into something. But on the side of Danny and Paul, we get to see more of Danny's past life in terms of relationships, the kind of relationship that she had before and what it meant for both of them. Because Paul, there's one particular girlfriend that he really liked, and there was a reason behind their breaking up. They don't talk a lot about it, but you get to see the world from Paul's eyes. He gets to talk a lot in this particular episode, and we get to understand where he's coming from in terms of his beliefs, his way of life, his philosophy when it comes to life, and how that now creates another contrast between the two. Because you already had a contrast between, you see, this show, the first 2 episodes, I've done that thing of these are 2 different people from 2 different worlds who have a similar problem in terms of money and in terms of their own personal life. So we get to see for Amy, it's between Amy and George. For Danny, it's between for Amy, it's Amy and George. And for Danny, it's Danny and Paul, his brother. So we have husband and wife, and for Danny, we have the brother. they all have issues. They all have issues in their own personal life. So in this episode, we also come back to Isaac. Isaac is Danny's cousin. I think he was introduced in the first episode, and you get to meet him now trying to bring in new products. He wants to start a new business, which is laptop batteries, I think. And so he suggests to Danny that Danny should change his business, since Amy has been leaving a lot of bad reviews for Danny's business, and that has totally killed his business. So now he needs to rebrand and change his business and start doing a different type of business. And this time they changed the name, and they also now changed the name to Cho Bros, which is also the idea comes from Paul. The name comes from Paul, and so Danny decides that they should use Paul's details to register the company. So that, I don't know where that's going to go, but they'll set up something interesting. It feels like Danny is still unstable, but he's trying to do things. He's trying to move forward. He's trying to do something different. He's trying to change his life. So there's a bit of positivity with that. I like the way they're taking him. I like the fact that they're not disrespecting him and making him a loser. I like the fact that they're trying to make him into something. They're at least trying to show a character who's willing to grow, who's not giving up, who's not a crybaby, who's trying to move out of what the mess that he created and the mess that is in. So the episode ends with, now there's the third act is pretty interesting, because we get to see Paul talk to Danny and tell Danny that Danny should take a chance and just live his life, because Danny is living his parents' life. He's working under his parents' instruction and expectations. So I think Paul lets him know that he should live his life. But straight after that, when they leave because they were in a party, they were having fun. When they leave the party and when they leave that particular area, they come and find that Danny's car has been vandalized. And probably know who vandalized the car. They have written all kind of names on the car. They've done all kind of mess on the car. And and I know who did that. So as the episode ends, we see Danny come with his van outside Amy's house, and he has a hammer. So that's like the last scene. We see him go up the ladder, and I think he's going to do something stupid, and he's probably going to regret it, because at the end of the episode 1 he did something stupid, and thanks to that he lost his job, or his job got affected. Now there's some very, very funny scenes. There's one particular funny scene. Danny leaves a voicemail to Amy, threatening her because she has totally ruined she has totally ruined his business, and it's pretty funny, because now, okay, I don't want to spoil it for you, and as I said, if you saw the episode, you probably understand what I'm talking about, and that just goes to show how much ridiculous this episode is supposed to go, and how much realistic and grounded it's willing to go, because that is something that a person like that would say in a normal world. That is something that would come from a person who is in that circumstances, despite the fact that it's actually really hilarious and it feels like it was punched up to feel funny, but that is something someone on that kind of setting would say. So this episode was actually better than the first, because we get to see there's a lot of world building in terms of relationships, and we get to know more about the mental state of these characters, and how much their relationships are either weighing down on them, or the amount of pressure that they're taking in order to move on with their life and progress. So yeah, that's episode 2. I loved the title card. It's pretty interesting. It's an artwork, and the artwork kind of tells us a story about something, and it's very, I wouldn't call it, it's realistic, and it almost tells you something about the episode. I like the fact that they're doing that. It's unique. It's like the end credit with The Mandalorian, whereby they show you the concept arts. This is like a painting that tells you, that summarizes the story that you're about to watch. So that's pretty cool. Does it feel like a 24 episode? No, it doesn't feel. They did that pop thing, and I don't like that thing. That pop rock, that pop song at the end when they're closing up. I am not for that. I don't know why they keep doing that. It just mellows the episode. It makes the episode like feel like one of those teenage made for TV shows, and I actually don't really like that. I was hoping that they would do something different with the ending, because it feels generic with that kind of music at the end. It feels very, very generic. I wish that I don't know, or they could just nuke the song and let it go on silently, because that just changes the tone of the show. it makes it feel like a show, not like a special show. It doesn't make it feel like an A24 show. It makes it feel like a CW show. Let me just put it that way. Anyway, that's episode 2 of the beef or beef. It's called Rapture, the Rapture of Being Alive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on episode 3. I hope things will get better, but episode 3.